Hello and welcome to episode 159 of the Nerds at Large Gaming Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Darby Hellman.
I'm Jeff Mayo.
And we are joined by a very, very special guest, Brent Gillahan. How you doing?
Yo, what up, boy? I'm alright. I'm just vibing.
We finally have a guest who's vibing, Jeff. We've been looking for it. We've been searching for the viber. We've been searching for the one who vibes.
Yep. I sit in the vibe zone all the time, man. I don't know what to say.
Well, for anyone who is somehow listening to our podcast, just period, let them know who the hell are you? What the hell do you do? You know, where would people find you? Do you talk about video games into microphones like we do?
Dude, honestly, I don't even know who the hell I am, honestly, at this point. But I know what I do. I'm a co-host of the Uncultured Opinions podcast. We talk about movies and stuff. I also a co-host of the Untitled PlayStation podcast, which we're on hiatus right now. And also a co-host of a podcast I just started called the Free to Play podcast, where we talk about video games, all sorts of stuff. I want to start doing like a music podcast because I'm big into like hip hop and stuff like that. That's on the back burner right now. So stream Porkshot 118 YT on Twitch, and then Porkshot 118 on YouTube. I do video essays and stuff, and I post stupid Travis Scott memes on Twitter. Porkchop 1864.
How much do you miss live shows right now?
Dude,
like concerts, because I think me and Jeff are having withdrawals.
Well, I want to say a lot, but I've actually never been to one. But it's like I miss seeing like the concert like on video, you know. Mm-hmm. So I guess I kind of miss that. I still never got to go to one. I want to, but it's like I also want my first one to be like Eminem. But it's like that's never gonna. It's almost like he never announces when he's going on tour. I just see highlights later on. I'm like, bro, when did you announce this?
Just stealth shows. Yeah, you gotta drop those standards a little bit. You gotta do like me and Jeff do and go to our local like bar that has bands that come through. Yeah. You gotta start there. That's the easy stuff.
Well, the thing is, it's like if I'm going to a local bar, I'm gonna perform. I need to get my rap career up there first.
Okay, I didn't know there was.
That's fair.
Yeah. Okay, you're better than us then. I didn't know there was Brent originals out there. I can kind of play guitar. Like that's the best I got. Which I guess
I need to make way for B Rent, man. It's my rapper friend.
Well, you will have our support for whatever little that'll do for you. You can post your music videos on our YouTube channel. Do anything you want. Just hijack it. It becomes the B Rent Vivo account basically, and I'm all for that.
If that's what's got to happen, man.
Well, we have I was going to say quite a few, but we actually don't have all that much news to talk about this week, especially since we recorded not that long ago, but we have some big stuff. We have a new Smash Bros. Character out of nowhere, and the pick is also fucking out of nowhere, and I'm very excited to talk about that. And then some more sad news with like Cyberpunk Crunch. We have lots of stuff, but before we get into that, we are going to start with our opening segment. Where do you see yourself in 5 stars? Brent, so I don't know if you've been listening to the podcast at all, but Jeff here has been hired as Bowser's hiring manager. He is responsible for hiring all the goons, all the, war commanders, everything that Bowser needs to take down Mario. And Jeff's job has gotten interesting recently because Bowser is discovered in the multiverse. So Jeff has, seen candidates from all realms and realities to try to make the perfect team to take down Mario. As of right now, I think we have, let's see if I can remember everything. You have King Mickey as your war commander. You had the Slimes from Dragon Quest as Bowser's grunts. You had the Great Fox from Star Fox as the airship. What was the last one? Oh, yeah.
Wait, I'm trying to remember who we actually...
It was Snake as the spy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's it. I think those are all the ones. So that is the motley crew that we have on Bowser's team as of right now. And I think Jeff is going to let you be a hiring manager for the week.
Yeah. You can help the decision process.
And this week is very important because this week you are hiring Bowser's chef. You're hiring the chef for Bowser's army. Very, very important business. Are you guys ready to make the ultimate decision?
Of course. Gotta feed the slimes.
the slimes eat so much.
I was kind of hoping you would need like.
Oh, it's cutting out there.
We lose them.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping you'll need kind of like a heavy man, because I was about to be like, bro, my boy Travis Scott, did you see what he did in Fort?
I mean, if you can sell me on his cooking skills.
Yeah.
So our options are, number 1, Chef how do you say it? Kawasaki from Kirby. Option number 2, Cooking Mama.
That's kind of who I was thinking of.
Cooking Mama from Cooking Mama. Option number 3, Cookateel from Super Mario Odyssey. And wild card, Jeff doesn't know about this one. Option number 4, the Palicos from Monster Hunter World. Who is going to be the ultimate chef that will keep the army fed and ready to take down the plumber?
See, I was gonna say Cooking Mama, but then you brought in the Palicos, and I'm like, yeah, it's a good point, but I gotta go for the Mama. I gotta stay with Mama.
Hard support for Mama, loyal to Mama. What is Jeff thinking?
It's hard. All these fantastic chefs, but potentially with Palicos. Well, this is me talking to someone who is ignorant to the ways of Cooking Mama. With the Palicos, you get dinner and a show. That could be good for morale for the troops.
This is true. Those are some entertaining little dudes. So we have a split decision here. Can one of you sell the other on the virtues of the Mama?
for Mama, right? If you want, she can cook you an amazing American cuisine of popcorn or a hot dog. He
has a point.
Energy food.
Yeah. You know what? I got a feeling those are also Bowser's favorite foods. Like, Palicos are cooking all this fancy shit. Bowser may not be about that.
Bowser's fast food junkie. He's he's trash boy.
Or more so, maybe not Bowser, but Bowser Jr.
And the sweets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cookie Mama might appeal more to Bowser Jr.,
yeah,
which is something to consider.
That is true.
So I think that's enough to maybe put it in Cookie Mama.
All right. Okay. A surprise come from behind victory for Cooking Mama. I'm sorry to all the other applicants. I mean, very, very good applicants this week. Very good slate here. Hopefully the Palicos don't fall into Mario's hands. That's the only thing I would worry about. But I guess we'll see what happens. Well, with that business behind us, Jeff, let's get into what we've been playing this week. For me and you, not that much special.
Yeah, I will just say, I guess, get out there, make people excited. For next week, assuming I have time, Crash 4 and Genshin Impact. Have those downloaded on my PS4. Just haven't had time to play them.
Hadn't Crash 4 reviews have been very good, haven't they?
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, Brent, what have you been playing recently? What do you want to talk about? Words are hard. I'm a tired boy. Brent, what you been playing?
Bro, I feel it. I've been playing a few different things to kind of just rush through them, not spend too long on it. I'm replaying all the Assassin's Creed games because it's my favorite franchise, and I want to get them all platinum before Valhalla comes out. Just a quick tangent: the fact that playing these first 5 games, the amount of times I've said, "Holy shit, this series used to be cool," is astonishing. Because holy shit, the series used to be cool, and it's literally not anymore. Like, I like all the games except Odyssey, but they don't have that modern day factor. And I'm not gonna yell about it because I just yelled about it for 30 minutes last night on my podcast. But like, I hope Valhalla can bring that kind of energy back because those first 5 games, modern day wise, were fantastic.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. I mean, neither me and Jeff are really Assassin's Creed guys, so I've always kind of been looking at the outside. And I think Will, who guests on our podcast a lot, he also agrees with you that I think he prefers what Assassin's Creed used to be. Like, what is it? What are the like? What is it exactly? Do you think that was like lost along the way going forward? I mean, were you not happy about the RPG-ish direction of it, or is it mostly just story stuff that you?
I'm not a huge fan of RPG, but I can see that's where they need to go, you know? So, like, I understand copying Witcher 3. Now I think they should copy Ghost of Tsushima. But the RPG thing, it's fine. You know, if that's what you got to do, it's fine. The thing that was lost is the modern day. And I know there's so many reviewers that are like, oh, you know, I never cared about that. Take it out and I'll be fine. But for me, being a diehard fan of the series, that's not my thing, you know. Modern day, in my opinion, because the ancient history stuff was cool. Obviously, that's what you like the games for. That's what I love the games for. But the modern day was that bow on, like, the ribbon on the gift that solidified it as my favorite franchise. Those first 5 games had this narrative thread of the Piece of Eden, the first Civ. They were always woven into the plot. You know, they were always kind of there. There was always something happening with them. You know, at the end of the game, there was a big climax. They'd come out and they talk to you about the calamity and everything. You know, like at the end of 3, you're releasing Juno. But what does she do now? Oh, she pops up in Syndicate to be like, oh, look at me. I'm here. You know, like after 3, they never did anything with them. Like it was kind of cool in 4 because she was there, but you understood that because they were focusing on sages. Like you just learned about those in that game. So it kind of made sense, you know, but it still wasn't as cool. But when in 3 you released Gino and she's like, oh, I'm going to enslave humanity. When will she do that? When is she going to enslave humanity? You know, like 7 games later and we're all just chilling. Like that's kind of what I think was lost was them knowing what to do with the modern day. Like in Origins, they brought back playable modern day, but it was more of a, hey, remember this than really a, we know what we're going to do with it. With Valhalla, they brought Darby back on to write it. So I'm really excited for that. Me? But I didn't notice that till I was like halfway done saying it.
Wait, where's my check?
I hope you're paying rent from now.
Yeah.
But like they brought him back as a writer. So like he's been hyping it up like heavily because he wrote like the first few games and Black Flag. So, like, I think he can do a good job. I'm just hesitant if he's going to bring the lifeblood back into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's. It seems like, just from the outside, the worst part of it is that they kind of... It almost seems like it would be better if they just had a clean break where it's like, hey, this is just like a new... They're just historical games at this point. But it seems like they kind of tried to keep, like, one foot in. Like, it's technically still there, but we're not going to actually pay off any of these plot lines in any like meaningful way. We're just gonna kind of.
Am I mistaken in like I vaguely remember this for Valhalla that they said they were going to have the present day stuff more involved than the past couple games?
Yeah, so basically he's been on record because the character they introduced for this new trilogy in Origins was Layla, and no one likes Layla. So he's been on record saying you're gonna like Layla in this game, which is like I'm very hesitant about, but hyped regardless.
It's like no. You're going to like her, okay?
It's like you have to. We will not rest until you like Layla.
That's our life's goal.
I mean, if he does it right, then I'll take it at gunpoint as long as he does it right, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do hate it for like you and our friend Will because it kind of seems like, I mean, unfortunately for if you don't like the direction Assassin's Creed's going, Assassin's Creed is kind of more popular than ever now, or at least, you know, it's in a very like healthy place sales wise, and you know, game wise apparently from a lot of people, but it's just not what it was before, and it just kind of sucks because it seems like you were in the middle of a story and then they just kind of like yanked Act 3 out from you.
Yeah.
You know.
Kind of. It's so weird seeing... I hate Odyssey. I put it on record so many times that I hate Odyssey. So if you like it, that's fine. Before I get into this, if you like it, it's 100% fine. But it's just so weird seeing like the one that I feel like is the least Assassin's Creed you could possibly be. It's weird how that's the most popular one next to like Black Flag, you know? Like everyone's like, "Oh, I love Odyssey. It took out everything I hated about Assassin's Creed." Yeah, because it's not Assassin's Creed anymore. It's like they took out everything except the bare essentials, like parkour. You know, like they left like 2 Assassin's Creed things in there to make it still have the name, but that's about it, you know? So it's weird seeing that one be like everyone like Greg Miller and everyone like respect to Greg Miller, but like saying like, "Oh, that's like the best one," you know? But it's like it has the least DNA of the franchise than any other one.
Yeah, gotta be honest, again, as someone who's just been watching the franchise from outside, it is kind of weird. People say like, "Oh, these are the best Assassin's Creed," where the characters you're playing as are anything but assassins. You're playing as a Viking.
Yeah.
Like that's no way an assassin. I mean, they had the hidden blade thing in the trailer, but it's like, is that going to be the extent of it? Like the characters, the way they look, you don't expect stealth from them.
Yeah. I mean, he's been on record saying a lot to hype this game up because, you know, marketing, but like coming from him, I kind of like Darby McDevitt, the writer of it. Like coming from him, I respect it a little bit more, but he's been on record saying that it's kind of, I think it's going to be like an Edward Kenway thing where it's like he comes in as a pirate, but towards the end, he joins the fold of the assassins and then carries out assassin stuff. I think that's what Eivor is going to be, where he comes in as a Viking and then like gets brought into this whole world. And then, because we've seen from trailers and everything that there's like assassins like hidden throughout like some of the trailers and everything. Like we've seen like more promotional art recently of some assassins. So like I'm hyped to see how he weaves that in with it, but I'm still like hugely skeptical after Odyssey.
Yeah. Yeah, and it also seems kind of funny to me that like now this new form of Assassin's Creed is already, now that's starting to get run to the ground, where some people are like, okay, this is the 3rd straight game of basically playing the same game in a new setting. It's just, that's kind of the Ubisoft problem, is that they find something that works and they're like, oh, let's just do that 5 times in a row.
We're well-oriented machines, so once we get an idea and we like it, that's going to be the way it's going to be for like 5 years because they're all in development. For like all of their
this RPG trilogy just reminds me of Call of Duty, where they had that trilogy of exosuits, and then everyone hated it. They're like, "Oh, okay, we're boots on the ground now."
And then now they've been boots on the ground for 3 straight games, and now people are gonna be tired of that. It's just a vicious cycle.
True.
They all sell, so what can you do?
Well, Brent, you've also been playing Greedfall, and I am interested to hear about this, because this is a game that I think me and Jeff both kind of had. Like whatever E3 trailer it was or whatever was like well made enough of a trailer to like pique me and Jeff's interest as just people who like open world RPG type things. I was always a little hesitant because I know it was made by like a really small studio, and I know their previous game apparently wasn't like the best and everything. You know, so I was like slightly worried it was like a smaller studio over trying to do too much. Like how did it end up?
It's weird. I'm very conflicted on a lot of things. So yeah, right. Me too. When the game came out and was announced, I saw it on Steam for 40 or 60. I don't remember what it was, but like I was super excited for it. Like I have a lot of RPG channels I watch, and they were giving like decent reviews to it. And I'm like, it looks really fun. Like this looks like an RPG. Like I can become the spokesperson for, you know, like because like there's certain small games. I'm sure everyone has this idea when like you see a small game that looks really cool and you're like, this looks like my type of game. Like this could be like the game that like your annoying friends always like, hey, listen to Weezer, you know, kind of thing. Like this could be like my Weezer, you know, kind of thing. So I was always really excited for it, but I didn't want to drop like full price on it, so I was hesitant. But recently I was in an old game store and I was walking around. I did some trade-in, so I had some in-store credit. And I was looking at PS4 games. And I saw it there on PS4 for $20. And I was like, all right, bet. I'll pick it up. I started playing it, and I've only played 40 minutes maybe, and I hate it.
Oh no!
I need to. Like, I do need to preface it's 40 minutes. Like, I could find something more that I could come back to you. Like, I could text you later and be like, please ignore everything I said. Play this game. Whereas early impressions is like, it's so clunky. It's so weird. Like the it's such a small thing, but it can take you out. Like the lip movements, like they're so off sync, like they're not even synced at all. They're kind of just like moving, and then the dialogue just seems kind of stiff, and then the gameplay just doesn't feel that good either. And it's just like I'm not finding myself invested in it at all. I have the whole story though is that you're getting off this island, going to like to your main place, and you're going to like this brand new island. I haven't gotten to that island yet, so maybe it opens up there and it becomes an amazing game. But it's so just like clunk and stiff and just weird right now that I'm just like I'm not having a good time, and just leaves me so upset because I was so excited for this game.
That's a bummer because that's the thing that I would probably be most worried about with just a small studio, and they're talking about how big this world is and all these like options, and you know the story can completely change about what you're doing. It seems like it's trying to do like Witcher type things, and I think I remember everyone in the comments who like knew more about the studio than I did were always like, how are they making this game? How are they making this game look this good and everything? And that's the type of thing that I would worry about, is that like, yeah, it's
trailer
all,
magic.
It's all in there, but the actual like nitty gritty, did they get it to feel right? You know, that would be what I would worry about. And just production.
Yeah,
value.
like I don't know if it's just a bad PS4 port, because I think the console ports came out later. So like I think all the reviews probably were playing the Steam version. So maybe the Steam version's great and I got the bad port, you know? But it's just like, it's weird. There has to be something there, because I usually respect the opinion of like a lot of like RPG channels I follow, because like they play so many RPGs. If this game was bad and clunky, they would have threw it out in the first 40 minutes. So in my head, there's got to be something there that I'm not seeing yet, kind of thing. So I'm gonna stick around for a few more hours and see if I enjoy it. But right now, I'm just not impressed at all.
Based on, I have the Wikipedia page up. It actually, as far as the console thing came later, the PC and consoles did come out on the same day.
So maybe it's early access for PC. I don't know. I'm probably wrong.
Yeah. And just kind of looking at a couple of review scores, it seems to be all over the place. Like GameSpot giving it a 5 and IGN an 8.2 and stuff. So this kind of seems like for some people, be like what you are so far and can't take the jank of it. Then some people were able to do it and potentially enjoy its strong sides. It may not even enjoy that stuff. Who knows? It seems to be a love it or hate it type thing.
Well, especially with an RPG like that. I mean, you can't. I mean, not Jeff, but I'm assuming we all played our Bethesda games and fell in love with the Bethesda worlds, even though it was the jankiest piece of garbage in the world. But you know, with big open RPGs, you can fall in love with things despite some of the. I mean, even Witcher combat's not great. I mean, it's obviously probably better than this. It's probably more polished than this, but it's not great. But you can fall in love with other things. But there is a baseline that you have to kind of cross, you know. Nope. Having Discord problems. Oh, here we go. Yep. Brent, what did I tell you?
Sure, it happened.
I told you it happened. Okay. All right. I think we're back. Sorry. Go ahead with whatever you were going to say.
No, I was just like, bro, you're talking about my favorite game of all time with Witcher 3. I'm going to need you to chill.
Oh, dude, it's my number.
But also like
it's my number 2. It's right there. We have Geralt and the horse right there.
We have a Ciri statue.
We have a Ciri statue right here. Witcher 3 is one of my
I've been
favorite
looking at
games of all time. I
so
absolutely
cool.
adore it. Don't you worry about that.
It's such a good game.
Oh, it's
but also like more on jank though. It's like I'm usually someone that can ignore a lot of dumb things in a game. I'm in love with Marvel's Avengers, if that says anything. I love that game to death. I can ignore stupid problems in a game.
Don't like it. Well, I like Jump Force, so I can't be anyone to talk on anything.
Yeah, don't let us give you shit for anything.
See, even I enjoy aspects of Jump Force. Like mostly, I only play it because Jotaro from JoJo's in it.
Yeah.
But like,
look, Jeff, a man
I
of
love
taste.
JoJo so much.
A man of taste, indeed. If you like Jotaro, Tease, you might like my Halloween costume for the stream.
Tease, always teasing. And with the hot teases.
I have the Jotaro hat.
No. He might be able to join you then. Halloween stream. Get excited. Everyone get excited. Well, I actually kind of like want to pivot. Maybe you weren't planning to talk about it, but can you talk a little bit about Avengers? Because like we have not had anyone on our podcast talk about Avengers because me and Jeff both dodged it. We both sidestepped that.
I don't know what to. See, that's the big thing. It's like this game was dead on arrival, which sucks because like I think it got the Watch Dogs treatment in my mind, which is another game I get shit for loving. But it's like it comes out with a trailer or like a reveal, and it's got one thing that people aren't really like big on. Like with Watch Dogs, it was that downgrade, which yeah, it's a big downgrade. Like I can't get mad at people for getting mad at that. But like under that, in my opinion, was a really great game. And I was like 13. I played it. I was like, I don't really care about an E3 presentation. It's a fun game. It's kind of the same for Avengers. I feel like people were already dogging on the Destiny model and like saying that the characters didn't look like MCU. So it's like since then it's been a downward spiral for kind of like a lot of people have like actual critiques. Like I'm not saying everyone's being stupid about it, but like that's kind of the trajectory it was on. So when it came out, it's like not a lot of people really gave it a chance, but it's a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Like I'm not going to say it's a 5-star game. It's 3.5, but it's such a fun 3.5 in my opinion. Like I've had so much fun with that game. Just like the story mode alone, I was going to say blew my mind, but that's a little hyperbolic, but it was just like so much fun. I had so much fun with it. And then like getting on multiplayer with Chad, Matt and Dallas, like all of us like playing with the Avengers and like specking out our heroes and being like, all right, Dallas's Iron Man, let's get his Iron Man up, let's get Chad's Black Widow up, Matt's Hulk, and then get my Cap in there, and we're gonna do all this. Like it was such a fun experience. Even playing like on my own to grind, I have fun with. So it's like I get a lot of people don't like that Destiny model type of game, but it's so much more fun than I feel like people give credit for. So I don't know. I've had a lot of fun with it though.
I mean, I get it. When I look at that game, I totally get how how a group of friends get that game, and it's like, yeah, it has some problems, but like, you know, you fall into the trap of like, I don't play anything that's not like a masterpiece. It's like I don't know. Some of the most fun games for me are like 7 out of 10 has lots of problems, but there is a charm there. There is a core fun aspect there, and I totally get it.
Yeah.
Avengers, it's not really for me just game type, but when I look at it, I understand why.
Game type I'm perfectly into. It's just the whole multiplayer aspect is not something I'm into just in general, those kind of games. But, you know, I heard the story is pretty strong. Do you know about how long that is? If you remember?
So
roughly?
it took me about 15 hours to beat. I think how long to beat has it for like 10 to 12 hours. Okay. So like I don't really know for me, but that's how long I took to beat it. People are reporting around 13 I guess is average, so it's not too long. It took me just 2 days to beat it, just playing it.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of based on that, once it's on the cheap side, I could see myself getting it and like having fun with that. It's just the multiplayer aspect of it is just nothing against the game. It's just not my kind of thing in general. But I love the Avengers. I love Marvel and stuff.
You definitely need to be able to put up with gear, you know, being able to be like, oh, I need to mess with this gear. And honestly, it is one of the more easier gear systems, I will say, because like everyone brings up like, oh, there's 10 different currencies. How do I wrap my head around this? Bro, I don't know what half of them are called. I know I literally in my head, I'm like, oh, this symbol, I need this thing. Oop, done. Like you don't really focus on it as much as you focus on it when you're not playing it, if that makes sense. So it's like, but if you don't like that type of game, it's 100% not for you. And I can't ever make a case for it to be for you. But I can make a case of it not being trash, because I don't think it's trash. 100%. It's an insanely fun game. Does it have problems? Yeah. It does get stale after a little bit being in like AIM facilities with robots, but as much as a cop-out card as this is, that's how games as a service games are. You know, they launch with enough content that's fun. You know, I feel like there's a lot of content here, but then later on they give you more content. I know this month we're getting Kate Bishop, so we're gonna get some new like content to play there, probably some new enemy types and locations, and that's gonna be cool. Next month is Hawkeye, and next year Spider-Man. So like, there's definitely enough for me to come back every month and play, and hopefully every issue I have with it will be solved by then.
Yeah. And I'm definitely guilty. I think we could all kind of become cynical bastards with age, because I think if we went back to ourselves as as kids and showed like, look, you and all your friends could be the Avengers in this like hyper realistic game and go beat everyone up, we'd be like, yes, of course.
No, Dari, you would be like, who are the Avengers?
Yeah, that's why I said kids, other people. I'm not the biggest Marvel guy. I like Marvel, but I'm not like the biggest Marvel guy. But like, you know, if I went to you as a kid, be like, this is a video game you could play one day. You'd be like, what the hell? You know, just from that sheer fact alone, you know.
Yeah. So, Brent, have you seen?
I mean, 100%. Oh, go ahead.
Have you seen that leaked character roster or their character plans?
Dude, yes. Like, if they bring in, like, see, I've had this idea for a while, especially with that leaked character list of like Echo characters like Smash has, because there's people on there like War Machine and like I think Winter Soldier and a few on there. So like, I could easily see it being like, oh, I can't play Iron Man because he's already Iron Man. I'll play War Machine.
No, I think that's definitely. I think it's
share
smart.
like gear and stuff like that.
Yeah. There's
100%.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember. I think we talked about, or have you seen it? But yeah, there are a lot of what people using the Smash term echoes on there, which for reasons like Brent said, like if someone has Iron Man, they can use War Machine. And there might be some slight differences and all that. Looks like for Kate Bishop and Hawkeye might have some differences. I think that's really smart.
Yeah.
It's an easy way to beef out the roster, get the roster.
And they're completely unique characters. Like, I'm surprised Quake's on there. That I saw that, I was like, I kind of want to play as her.
Dude, my two most anticipated, besides Spider-Man, because he's my favorite next to Batman, but besides Spider-Man, I want Daredevil and Scarlet Witch, and I'm pretty sure Scarlet Witch was on that leaked character list already.
She was.
Scarlet Witch would be dope.
So like, I'm hyped for those two.
I think Vision's also on there.
Nice. So. I'm kind of excited for WandaVision.
Oh yeah,
I want WandaVision.
If the rumors are true, we're getting that in December. So
nice. Looks like an acid trip. I'm down.
Let's go. But we're not getting any MCU movies this year for the first time in 10 years.
We just don't get movies, except for apparently Monster Hunter.
We'll talk about that.
Hey, Black Widow's coming out in November.
No, they pushed that back to next year.
Really? Because I just saw the trailer for it being November. That's weird.
I think that was a very recent decision.
Yeah, I think that might have been like last week or something they announced it. Unless they decided to push it back in like they did with Monster Hunter. I don't know.
No one in the film industry knows what the hell they're doing right now. It's just kind of chaos.
Yeah.
Me and my dad were supposed to
work in a movie
see
theater. I don't even really know what's
April.
happening.
Damn it. Oh, you work in the movie theater?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yikes. Rough time for that. All right. Well, I mean, I think Hades, I played more of Hades. It's still freaking phenomenal. I'll wait until I'm a little bit further to talk about it more, but damn, that game's good. It's addicting. It's so damn good. But Jeff, let's get into the news. News jingle.
Jingle, jingle, jingle.
And let's get what we're really here for. The only thing that really, truly matters. And that is Stephen H. Minecraft in Super Smash Bros.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like, that's another thing. I want to go back to us as kids, or specifically, Brent, you as a kid, because apparently Minecraft was a very big part of your childhood. I like to just go back and be like, hey, guess what? Steve from Minecraft's going to be in Smash. I want to go back to like Smash 4 days and say Steve in Minecraft. Like, what? Like, what string of circumstances would lead to this happening? And it's like, I don't know. Here we freaking are. So, I mean, how exciting was that for you?
I screamed. Minecraft is one of my favorite games of all time. I remember playing it in like 2012 when I was 12. So like ever since then, it's been something I've hugely obsessed with. I used to like print out like crafting I can't talk. God, crafting recipes. And like I would put it in my own book and I would carry that around and be like, all right, this is how I make things. When I played on PC, like that's how I would kind of like do that. I was too obsessed with that game. I think if I could count my hours from like the 360, Xbox One, PC, put all those together, I'd probably have like 3,000 hours in Minecraft. Man. So like, Steve's always been my character I wanted in Smash. Next to Professor Egad, but I've already kind of like let him go. So like Steve was like the big one I was pushing for. Mm-hmm. True. So like putting like him being in Smash was just, it was too much. They did more with him than I expected them to do.
Yeah.
Like,
so yeah, have you seen the Sakurai's breakdown?
Yeah.
That thing was insane. Like you could tell from the trailer when they announced him that he was gonna have a lot of crazy stuff because there are more moves than there are inputs for normal Smash character. And it's like, oh, okay, we know why or how that could happen. He just doubled up on buttons and had a completely unique button combination with the shield B for the moving of the crafting table. It's like madness.
Again, like me and Jeff have been saying a lot with this, specifically the DLC for Smash Ultimate. I love how unrestricted it's been because there's 80 something characters in this game now, and up until this DLC there's a lot of variety in the game, obviously, but all the characters more or less had to fall under, like, you have your up smash, your side smash, your down smash. You have these things that they all kind of like fell under. But because I do think that was partially, and Nintendo wants this to be a fully accessible game that everyone can jump in and generally know what they're doing. I am happy that now that we're in the 70s and 80s of characters, they're not afraid to say, no, we're going to make completely new systems for these characters. And these characters might not always be the most accessible thing. And that's okay, because this roster is huge. It's okay if you have a Terry Bogard that has like its own crazy combos. And then now Terry looks simple in comparison to this craziness where like you have to craft resources. And I think every single move he does requires resources.
Pretty much, but most of them do. Trying to think. There are a couple ones that don't.
Yeah, at least most of the.
A lot of the big ones, the ones that be using the most, do require materials in some way.
Yeah, and the fact that they had to make basically every touchable surface on every stage corresponds to some type of material now.
You have to go back and do that for every stage.
Yeah, apparently this has been in development for like 3 to 5 years or something.
Yeah,
so like they've had to have had like probably starting Ultimate. They're like, all right, put Steve like on the back burner right now, and let's start kind of like doing this. Maybe like every once in a while they code for Steve a little bit because like this had to have been like so much work.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like 5 years ago was when talks at least started for this character. It is. I imagine it was probably around the time they decided on Banjo as well. It was kind of like solidifying, okay, we're going to really look at Steve for beyond the first fighter pass, or there was some talks of him being in the base roster, apparently. So, yeah, it's like there's been a long talk. And yeah, it makes sense that it may take a while, even though those talks have been going a while, for Sakurai to realize this moveset. Because honestly, one thing that about a year ago when we were talking about the first Fighters Pass and Microsoft getting a character, I was talking kind of shit on the perspective of Steve. And I'm going to admit that was partly because I wanted Banjo. But at the time, I'm not very creative, especially when we were talking in a podcast, to think of what moveset they can do with Steve. And you kind of think of stuff like, it's going to be pretty basic, especially with the movements and all that. So to make Steve actually unique and feel like, okay, this makes sense and worth it, is to add all this Minecraft stuff, which obviously takes a lot of work.
Well, and again, back when we were talking about that, the rules of Smash characters were different. We didn't know that you could have, like, Hero has a JRPG moveset screen that comes. I'm like, we didn't know that all this was possibilities, that you could go this crazy with Smash characters. So, like, I mean, Smash is in such good hands now that, like, they could literally announce anyone, and I'm like, Sakurai's going to make this an interesting moveset. It's just like, I have zero doubts about that ever again at this
Give
point.
me Phoenix Wright. I want to see Sakurai make a warrior character.
But Brent, I just want to know, like, for you, like, since this is like, me and Jeff have had our like top dream character get in Smash, and it's like the best feeling in the world. With me with Cloud, him with Banjo, and Hero, both are kind of the package deal there. It's like the best feeling in the world. I mean, do you think that this moveset and everything about this did it justice? Is this like what you would want to see?
I wanted to say though, like I agree with Jeff. It's so, especially for me, it's so crazy having two of my favorite, like two of my dream picks, Steve and Banjo, because Banjo is my other like my dream. Like he's my main right now. Banjo is one of my favorite games ever. So it's like having two dream characters in this game already is like Banjo was enough for me. I was like, if we don't get Steve, that's fine. I have Banjo, but now getting Steve is crazy. Like touching on whether I like his moveset, I also want to touch on another point tied into that. It's like the Sakurai cares. And I think I see a lot of people being like, oh, Sakurai didn't want to do this. But if you look at his moveset, he cared about this, because my dream moveset was always just like, oh, he's got a sword, he's got his bow, he could bucket of water, like the Elytra and the fire, like the firework I was always thinking of, an axe as well. Like, and that's a moveset, you know, but Sakurai was like, okay, so let's make it to where you can mine, craft, build, do all this. And I'm like, I would have expected that, but okay. And then like his, I think it's like side B is like the mine cart, and then the TNT, and you have to hook redstone up to the TNT and everything. Like that comes from someone who cares about the game, because you have to recode like everything in the game to work around that. I'm hoping it doesn't become so micromanagey that you can't win a match against pro players. But I'm also excited to see what that means, because if they showed getting one diamond makes diamond tools for like all your tools. So if you can get lucky real quick and mine a diamond, like you'll have complete tools for all of that. So it looks just enough to where it's not insanely too much, but I'm hoping it's not too much. But like it's still like a great moveset. I never would have expected like anything like that.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what people use the building for, because that looks prime for shenanigans. Now I'm here for it.
The blocking.
Yeah, being able to like,
good.
Being able to block like recoveries and stuff.
That footage of them blocking Pikachu's recovery, pro players either screamed or was like, "Yeah."
As soon as like he got to that point in the presentation, I'm like, "Don't do it! No, don't do it! This,
you monster!
You're an absolute madman."
But something that's also interesting. I'm curious to see how it affects this for the building. Pretty much the invisible barrier of how far you can deblock. Because, Dari, we've been talking about recovering for that. If you get knocked out too far, you can't make a block.
Yeah, which I think is good, because it's already going to be a crazy recovery.
But also at the same time, depending how they do it, you could do the up B. And I mean, the up B looks good on its own for recovery.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be one of the more finicky of the just fly upwards things, because the arc, like I'm going to kill myself with that weird arc that he takes like while flying. But
yeah.
In general, I think that when you look at the presentation, it looks like, Jesus Christ, this guy can do so many ridiculous things, and like almost looks like he's overpowered or something. But I have a feeling that when you're in the actual match, it's going to be like you said, the micromanaging, the like making sure you have the resources. I bet like it's going to be hard to be completely stocked up and ready at all times, because you're going to, in the heat of the battle, you're going to have to try to mine real quick. You're probably going to be able to just mine like halfway up, and then you can do like a little bit, but you're you know what I mean.
I'm curious to see how fast it takes you to build up your whole inventory, because it's like the same thing with Olimar and Pikmin. You could lose all the Pikmin, and you pretty much got to do the same thing. Press B to get them all up, but that could you can fill up your thing pretty quick. I know it's going to take longer for Steve, but depending. It may not take too long.
And it's weird because the map actually matters a lot more for Steve than anyone else, because the resources
counter
change.
Picks for the character, like legitimately for the character and its moves. As far as competitive goes, like, I'm going to go to this stage so they can't have good material.
True. It's also like, what was I going to say? Because even if you don't have tools, his moveset seems kind of cool. Like being like the grab where he didn't have like anything where you just like smack people down, that still looked pretty powerful. And so what I'm worried about, because I think if you play like multiplayer with multiple people, you might be able to go to the side and kind of like mine. I'm worried about a 1v1 where you're like 1v1ing somebody and you have to mine a little bit. That's kind of what I'm worried about.
Yeah, like I said, it looks like you can at least get some material pretty fast. So I imagine you'll, you know, what I mean, it might not be able to fill up, but enough to kind of do some stuff, you know, real quick if you have a second.
I mean, I don't know if y'all disagree, but I think he looks like he's going to be the hardest to use character in the game. Like, I think he's going to be the highest skill.
At the very least, use all his tools to.
I mean, because it kind of changes the way, like, there's simple things that you take for granted, like being able to jump up onto a small platform, like on Battlefield. His single jump doesn't even make it to that. His single jump is so short, it doesn't even make it to that, because you have to make up for that by like building and doing all these things. And I think like what you have to do with Steve to get things done is going to take more, like, you know, you're gonna have to manage your resources, do all of this. I think like I'm gonna be trash as him. I'm gonna love playing them, but it's gonna be hard, you know.
I just can't wait to use that minecart to jump out of it and send you flying off the stage. That's my goal.
That move is ridiculous.
I love it. Love everything about that move.
Yeah, he's got such like a technical kit that I think I could see a lot of pro players either backing away from him, be like, I'm not messing with this, or like falling into him, being like, there's a lot here that I can like really mess with, because like you can like put someone in a minecart, have them like rush back into it like a TNT, because you place a block over there at the minecart, like pushes back on, then it lands on the pressure plate of the TNT and blows it up, and they could probably do an up B and maybe like do a bunch of like crazy stuff, do the lava thing. I'm already coming up with like in my head of like things to do.
It's so wild because it sounds like you're playing Minecraft. Like, it's crazy. It's like you're doing actual, kind of like you said. Sakurai could have just been like, Steve's in there and he slashes and, you know, there's a block or whatever, and that could have been it and everyone would have been happy. But it's like, no, it's like you're actually playing Minecraft. You're building things, putting TNT.
I know it's not exactly what you mean, but something I find funny just through this whole all this stuff for them showing off Steve is when, particularly like when they're on the Minecraft stage and it's like just Steve, they always gotta have a little asterisk like, this is footage from Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Remind you, no, this isn't from Minecraft.
Which I think that was such a good choice, because me and Jeff were talking about, usually for every other Smash character, their visual look is kind of, you know, Smash-ified. You know, it doesn't look like their OG game. It, you know, looks like it's translated over to Smash. Whereas Steve is just straight up his Minecraft model.
Yeah, people thought he looked like this.
Oh no, I'm glad.
Brent, look up Ugly Steve.
But I think it works so well because it just adds this completely new, different art style to Smash, and it just, like, I don't know, it just works.
It's like cool. A weird thing where it is kind of jarring in a way because it's so different, but at the same time, it's like it's just so great because it's so different.
I love it,
and this is so perfect. I guess we can talk about that stage real quick since it just came out. The stage is called Minecraft World, and it pretty much has 6 biomes that it switches between. And from what we can tell, each biome, every time you go to it, it's not randomly generated. It has a set starting platforms and stage hazards, or not hazards, but everything.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Very cool.
Pretty much 6 stages in one.
Yeah, I love that they went for that to make it kind of feel more like Minecraft, that you're loading in a generated world, even though it's
and the background is beautiful.
Yeah, very, very beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, what'd you think about the stage, Brent?
It cool.
It cool.
It cool.
It very cool.
So,
and just the fact that, like, Steve, it's kind of a rush to try to break the thing so Steve doesn't get all the resources with him.
Like, we can't let him get all this stuff.
Let Steve get everything.
Yeah, playing with 2 Steves is gonna be crazy.
They're just building their own bases, man.
Or you have like 8 Steves and they're just a bunch of crafting tables everywhere.
8 Steves on Great Cave Offensive. So you just have like 8 different houses that they've built.
This is my castle. So Brent, were you happy to see the skins Steve got with Alex, Zombie, and Enderman skins?
Yeah, I would have been okay if they just did like the Xbox 360 kind of like, they have a few of those in there of like just the base skins where you have like Scottish Steve in a suit, and then like stuff like that. But the fact they put Zombie and Enderman in there was kind of cool. I was worried that they were going to make them echoes. I was like, Sakurai, don't do that. But they're skin variations, so I'm pretty hyped with that. The Enderman looks really weird.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of okay with it.
Yeah, it was kind of a nice surprise. Like, okay, just get kind of more characters in there. And now we'll just hear the announcer go, zombie.
Yeah, I think it's cool, especially since, from what I know, Steve kind of seems to, he's kind of a generic character. He's just, generic Minecraft man. So it's kind of cool. Like, basically, Steve is like a stand-in for Minecraft, the game, for the entire game. So I think it's kind of cool to have more references in there than just Steve.
So I guess, seeing a little tiny Enderman building stuff is going to be weird to see.
His arms, it's weird how he just has normal man arms.
Yeah, they're skinny, but yeah.
With a wrong link.
Yeah, I think Steve, like, for as much as people saying like, oh, no one's gonna care about this except 6-year-olds, but it's like Steve embodies so much of Minecraft and so much of people's childhoods of like being creative and like going, like, for me, going home from school and like hanging out with my friends, making new mini games to like impress people and like get my friends to come on and building cool things. Like, Steve embodies like so many nights of those, just like chilling and like hanging out. Like, even if he's not like a Mario, you're playing this amazing story as Cloud. Like, Steve still embodies like that personal level of like enjoying the game and like just that world that you get sucked into. Steve is that gateway to it. So I still think it's cool that he's in here and he deserves a spot more than people like to think he does.
I think the part of it is what you were saying about people thinking it's pretty much only little like 6-year-old kids like it. Is the boomer mentality of they think this is kids and they're forgetting that this game is at least 10 years old and there are people like you who were kids when they started playing it, but you're 20 now. You're an adult.
Yeah.
There are a lot of those, so you got a pretty big range of people that grew up with Minecraft and played lots of hours in it that aren't just the little kids that would be happy to see Steve's inclusion. I think that's something people are forgetting.
Yeah, people have a shitty mindset that like their nostalgia is the only one that can be catered to, and if anyone else says it's like, no, let's get this shit out of here. And it's like I said, I had my moment, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy that it's not mine, but I'm so happy that other people are getting that moment. And like you said, I mean, even like Brent's a little bit younger than us, and so it makes perfect sense. I mean, I was young when Minecraft started. I mean, I was pretty young, and I remember like going over to a friend's house when Minecraft was just like on PCs and no one really knew about it. Like, I knew people my age who like grew up on Minecraft, and it's kind of just a catch-all. Like, it's just an awesome pillar of gaming that was not represented in Smash that now suddenly is.
And it makes perfect sense that it's in this game. It deserves it every way. Like, but I will say this because I've seen people bring up the comparison of like, well, if Minecraft's in, we might as well get ready for Fortnite. No, that's completely different. And as far as like if that did happen, I'm going to be upset about that one.
See, like Minecraft had a resurgence like a year or so ago, and that was because of people like me. On top of like PewDiePie and like Call Me Carson playing it and like bringing it up again, it was because of people like me that are like, oh, I'm 18, 20 now. Like, I played this game as a kid and I want to get back to it. Like, I was playing it again around there because around when I was 16 or so, I stopped playing it because there's so many other games I wanted to beat and play with my friends. Like, friends are moving on to like Destiny and stuff, so I was playing with them. So like getting back, like when that resurgence happened, like I was hopping back on it being like, I love this game. I'm so happy playing it again, kind of thing. So like there's a lot of people like me out there that like played it as a kid and now are adults like hanging out and that want Steve. Like that could buy a Switch to get Steve in Smash.
Oh yeah, there's so many I've seen. Like I legitimately think Steve is one of the few characters they could have picked that could legitimately sell copies of Smash and potentially Switches. Because a lot of the characters that people are really asking for, well, those people already have Smash, and those are the normal picks. Those are characters based for the Smash audience, and won't go too far beyond that.
Oh yeah, I mean this is by far the DLC character that is going to make the most difference for Smash, just like getting in new hands and everything, and like. Anyone, don't get me wrong. I want him in there, and like he means more to me or whatever than Steve. But anyone who actually thinks that like Dante from Devil May Cry getting in would be a bigger deal than Steve from Minecraft, you're fucking delusional. It's like,
But Dari, they could put featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series.
I would love him, and I think he's still a possibility. But if you think that this is like, I've seen people legitimately think like this is not that big of a deal. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This is like the top selling game in the world.
Yeah. Well, I think a good thing is there was a lot of people that were really outspoken about it, but it seems it was kind of a vocal minority more type thing. And a lot of people turn around after seeing that Sakurai presentation. It's like, okay, this moveset's insane. Fine, let's go for it.
Yeah, I think before it wraps up real quick, I just want to show how much of an impact Minecraft has. Like, I have 2 cousins who suffer from like autism, and like we introduced them to games like Minecraft and Terraria, and it became like some of their favorite games because they're able to kind of like express themselves and create things, and like especially like my cousins, you know, like super smart with like things like that. So like figuring out redstone and everything is like, so it gives them like the creativity that they don't really have with a lot of other things. Like it's hard for them to talk to other people and stuff. But with Minecraft, it's like, bro, they can go in and make like the craziest mini games and like redstone machines that I've ever seen. So like it's cool for them to have games like that. And even my little sister.
Oh, nah.
Lost them.
Dang. All right. Hey, sorry.
All right.
Back again. Sorry. Continue. I'm sorry about Discord.
Very good. But even like when my little sister, when she was getting a Switch, the first game I told her mom to get her was Minecraft, and like she loves it. Like it's so easy for her to run around and kind of like just punch trees and like have fun with it. Like it has so much more of an impact than like a block game people play for 5 minutes and turn off, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, that 100% right there. That's it. That's why this is That's why this is very valid. I'm so glad it happened. I'm so glad that people, I mean, even just seeing videos of kids and kids like your cousin, they just losing their minds about this, it just makes me so happy, you know.
And going to the whole, this expanded the audience. This just gets potentially kids into these other series and characters that we love, like you know, Fire Emblem, an example for me and Darby. We didn't know anything about them, but we like the characters. We tried out the game and love them. That could happen to other kids, like maybe even more kids from Mario. They may not know Mario. It's like, oh, this guy looks cool. Let's get those. I mean,
games. The potential for that, like as a kid, we got into Fire Emblem and some things like that. There was like, oh, the guy from Smash, and we just like started playing that game. The potential for that for kids today is just. There are so many like Persona, Final Fantasy, Castlevania.
Maybe
like,
the little kids shouldn't be trying out Persona right now.
Yeah, maybe not right now.
I think people forget the possibility of people not knowing what Smash is.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, right.
Like, there's new kids being born every day. They're going to stumble across a game and not know Smash exists. So they know Minecraft and they see Steve on the eShop for Smash and be like, oh, what's this?
Or just see a video because, you know, this character's power, Steve fighting Pikachu. And that's enough to be like, okay, let's go.
Yeah, 100%. And I think some people get in the trap of like, they kind of don't realize how great of an opportunity Smash is. And they start kind of going down the rabbit hole of wanting the same type of characters in our like little gaming bubble. And they want all these characters in there when like, Smash has so much more potential in that. Smash has brought together so many different genres, so many different generations, and so many different like fan bases all in one game, and like it's getting crazier and crazier. And this is the first DLC character that, you know, this is the DLC character that I think the most out of any of them has just completely introduced a new fan base whatsoever. You know, just a whole new pillar of gaming is represented here. It's like the only thing that will make this crazier is if we get like a Sony character to end this all out, and they'll be like, yep, Smash is the easiest 10 out of 10 in the world. This crossover will never be beat.
And imagine the last character is Kratos.
If Sly Cooper was in Smash,
yes,
I would really freak
why
out.
would have this guy on before?
He's the best guest. We like. It's a travesty. It's a travesty. He hasn't been on before. Yes, Sly Cooper is my right there. Sly Cooper is my childhood. So. Sorry to interrupt you.
Now,
yes.
No, you're good. Like that would be perfect. If Sony would allow anything, please let it be Sly Cooper.
Yes.
It wouldn't be Sly Cooper, but God, I would want it to be.
Yeah.
Because
they would want him
again.
They'd want him for PlayStation All-Stars 2. So I mean, it's off the table. But
I mean, if they want to make that too,
if they want to make that,
Darby and I are one of the few people that actually like the first one.
I was gonna say when you were talking earlier about Watch Dogs and being like, yeah, it's a game that everyone just immediately shat on and didn't give it a chance, and I like it, and I'm the only one. That's me and Jeff with PlayStation All Stars. Everyone just shat on that game and didn't give it a chance. Like me and Jeff have played that game for hours and hours with our friends, and it's a lot of damn fun. I mean, it was a similar thing, just me having a Vita and not really like being too huge in the game industry. I got that game from my friend and I'm like, this is fun. Yeah.
Like I knew what Smash was, so like I had something to compare it to, but it was like, I still have fun with this. I love playing as Kratos. Like I used to only play the Vita copy of Mortal Kombat 9 just so I would be able to play as Kratos.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, so before moving on from this, well, Steve comes out October 13th, about a week. You can expect content from us playing Steve at some point in time.
100%.
Well, we gotta go through the me costumes.
So basically, the deconfirmation list.
Yeah. Well, first they started out with Sakurai kind of said like, okay, it's gonna have Minecraft costume. It's like, okay, we're just getting Minecraft. So I thought, okay, we're safe. It started. We got a creeper costume. We got a pig costume. Diamond armor suit. Like, okay, those are fine. They went to Gil, who was a me costume in the last one. Okay, cool, fine. Went to Bomberman. Okay, he's an assist trophy. It looks like to be literally the model, the assist trophy model. It changes colors. I'm getting that. I want Bomberman in. As close as I'm going to get. I'm going for it. But then, the last one they showed, Travis Touchdown from No More Heroes, is unfortunately deconfirmed now.
They also deconfirmed Travis Scott.
Rest in peace.
R.I.P.
I'm sorry, Jeff. The dream may be dead.
Yep.
I don't play No More Heroes, but I wanted Travis Touchdown in the Smash. Like I saw a few people campaign for it. And I'm like, as much as Nintendo is working like with like Masuda, is that his name?
Yeah.
51. As much as like they're working with him so much, I thought for sure he was going to be in the game.
I had hope.
And like I see both sides of the argument of like, oh, he's too graphic. Oh, but Bayonetta is too. Like I see both sides of that, but it's also like, it's cool that he has representation at all.
Yeah.
I really thought he would have had a fighter at some point.
Yeah, I had hoped that. I mean, the main thing of why I think this happened instead of him being playable is No More Heroes isn't that big of a franchise. It's never been that successful. It's had ties to Nintendo, but I don't think all that was enough to get it, and I understand that. Just kind of thought we just got that deconfirmation.
Yeah, it's sad.
But potentially for future characters with this, we got a second Microsoft character. So maybe we can leave with this. What do you guys think the chances of Master Chief? Microsoft getting a third character.
If Microsoft gets a third character, Doomslayer. Over Master Chief, I need Doomslayer.
Well, I mean, I guess technically, if that was already decided a year ago, yes, that could technically be this third Microsoft character.
I mean, at the time, it was going to be a Bethesda character.
Yeah. Which I will also accept, because that'd be awesome.
If it was actually like talking to Minecraft, or to Microsoft, I think Master Chief would be more likely. I still don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
with Smash, we should stop saying like, "Oh, this will never happen." And it's like anything can happen.
I feel like the only thing that would potentially stop that from happening is if Nintendo / Sakurai is like, okay, we already gave Microsoft 2 characters.
Yeah, there's definitely
maybe stop there. That's the main thing. I mean, Microsoft would obviously be in 343 obviously be cool with it. I'm sure just in a vacuum, Nintendo and Sakurai would be okay with it. I assume, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, it would be fucking bonkers. Can you imagine a Nintendo Direct and they're like, all right, we have the last fighter. Here we go. And you hear, bah, 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 bah. I was like, what?
Now, I can already see now if that happened, you'd be freaking out. It's like, what's going on? I don't know this music.
Oh, you know that Halo. You know the main Halo theme. I'll have to play the main Halo theme after this, and I will be shocked if you don't recognize it.
I probably heard it.
I would be shocked.
I'd be bad at recognizing music sometimes.
I would be really surprised.
But yeah.
If Microsoft got a third rep, I'd want Master Chief, but I don't know if they would do it. If they got a third rep, I think it would be Conquer or Ori.
I'd also accept Ori.
Please Ori over Conquer. I'm sorry. Please Ori over Conquer.
But they haven't done anything with Conquer, and this would be like the big thing to do with Conquer.
But I need the Great Mighty Pooh at a stage.
But I'm sorry. But Ori. I mean, but Ori.
I couldn't get into Ori. Like, I'll admit, I cried the first hour of Ori, but after that, I couldn't really play it anymore.
All right, he praised Sly Cooper, so he gets to stay. He was like, it's
and Banjo, so
and Banjo, so you're still
so
above.
you got one thing evened out. You got one more.
Yeah. You're +1 right now.
So technically, you get 3 strikes.
Damn.
Well, we have any more Smash? I know that was a lot, but that was the main thing we wanted to talk about.
I'll just say this. This got me just having Steve get more excited for the rest of the pass and where Nintendo's going with the pass. Because there was fear that it was just going to be a more tame, potentially first-party pass.
And all the remaining 4 Fire Emblem characters.
Fuck yeah. All
I'm
sorts
kind of done with Nintendo first party. Honestly, just give us all third party. Like, I have enough first party. Honestly,
there are characters I want still and be happy with, but they're not like they're pretty much about out of characters / series. I'm like, this needed to be in. Like, Inkling needed to be in. Isabelle needed to be in, for example. I would argue ARMS makes sense as well. I know some people disagree with me, but one thing I would like is another Xenoblade rep. I think Monolith Soft deserves it as well. Xenoblade is kind of,
but third party would undeniably be more exciting.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna argue that.
Like any first party.
Yeah. I think Shulk's enough for Xenoblade, honestly. But I could see what like Rex, Pyra people were saying.
Let's go.
I could see it, but I mean, I don't know.
Just put more from Xenoblade 1 because it's the one that looks actually really good to me.
Or if they wanted to, for a third party rep, get Cosmos from Xenosaga.
There you go.
That's the second Monolith Soft rep. I would also take that.
Yeah, that would actually be kind of cool.
I'd be all for. I mean, I prefer that to a Xenoblade
I'd
character.
much rather that than like Rex.
I love Xenosaga. Yeah. Okay, moving on to something weirder. Okay, maybe not weirder, but
it's weird.
Yeah,
it's bizarre.
I'm just going to read the article. This comes from Austin Goslin from Polygon. On Wednesday, Sony announced new details on Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered. An update on Marvel's Spider-Man for Sony next generation console, the PlayStation 5. The game would feature a few expected upgrades like better graphics, a higher frame rate, and a few new Spider-Man suits. It will also feature some unexpected changes, like a brand new face for Peter Parker. According to a new post on the Sony's PlayStation blog, Peter Parker's facial model has been changed in the remastered version of the game from John Bubniak's face to Ben Jordan's. The blog post explains that in order to bring out the best possible visuals for the remastered version of the game, the development team needed a better match for the facial capture done by Yuri Lowenthal. Possibly by coincidence, this new Peter Parker also happens to look a bit more like the MCU's Peter, Tom Holland, than the previous actor did. Also, as far as the costume, I'll throw that in there. They're doing... Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man from the Amazing Spider-Man movies is one of the new skins.
Thank God.
That's the one they announced.
Got all of them in there now. Now just Spider Pig, you cowards.
I can't see Spider-Ham.
Let me swing around New York.
So yeah, there's just a weird thing of them just announcing like the remaster. Okay, it's gonna look better, but then they completely changed the main character's face.
It's
like in a game that's been out for 2 years.
Weird. I like where I'm standing. I have no problem with the face in the vacuum. Like if this had always been the face, I wouldn't have been like, this is a terrible face. You know, I'd be like, no, it's Peter Parker, sure, whatever. It's really weird in a game that's very story focused and the facial acting was very important. You know, it's a very big like cinematic narrative type game or whatever. To just like, and it's a very big game that a lot of people play. A lot of people are anticipating the future of it. It's really bizarre to just suddenly change the face. And like now if you play through that story, I mean, it's just inherently going to feel like a different character. Like even if the voice is the same, you spend a lot of time with that face and that character. It's like someone, if you just recast someone in a movie, it's weird. And it's like...
Well, something that's even weirder about that is, again, like you said, it's going to be the same voice.
It's like, I don't really like this, like just because of that weirdness. Like I would like to stick out the whole trilogy or whatever these games are going to be with a guy.
So a couple things that still makes it weird for me. I mean, at the end of the day, whatever we say, we're going to be saying now, but we'll get used to it and just probably forget about this. But at the same time, something that stands out to me is it's such a drastic change. Like this guy looks much younger than the original face to me.
Yeah.
I know that he's supposed to be like Peter's supposed to be 23 and that kind of makes sense, but I mean, the face is like, looks like it'd be a 22-year-old, but it just looks so much younger. And like we were, what's also going to be weird is since this is going to be face going forward, and I guess Miles Morales, if he shows up, or Spider-Man 2, for people who aren't following video game news as well as us, who haven't heard this news at all, go in there and see this guy come up, and they call him Peter. It's like, wait, what's going on here? Why is his face like completely different? Also, what's weird to me is in the DLC, they talk about obviously Peter's with MJ, but also with Black Cat. Black Cat looks like a more mature woman, and this guy looks like a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
that's just weird to me.
Yeah, I really hate this. It sucks, and I know you shouldn't have too much of an emotional connection to things, but like Spider-Man was like a game that spoke to me. It was one of my favorite games ever. Like Spider-Man's a character that I've been obsessed with, the same as Batman, since I was like 2.
Yeah.
Like I came out of the womb and Spider-Man and Batman were in my hands, and I was like, I love these guys, kind of thing. And Nightwing, but whatever. That's besides the point. But it's like I love the character, and it's like I love the game. Like it spoke to me so much, and I love it so much, and I can't talk. But the thing with it is like he doesn't. It sucks because you can't really talk about how you like it without unfortunately attacking the actor's appearance, and I never want to do that because he seems like a really great guy, like, and his face is fine as a face, like, if you know what I mean. But it's like, replacing the original face, it just doesn't, like, it looks really bad. Like, I don't enjoy this new look for him. Like, it's like you brought up, it's like the character's like almost 25, and he looks like he's still in high school. It doesn't really look like it fits. And I get they had to change it for like technical issues, which I believe moving in, there was something wrong with his facial capture. Like stuff like that happens all the time. What I don't buy is everyone being like, oh, they just wanted him to look like Tom Holland. No, that's kind of dumb. Like I highly doubt they didn't just want him to look like Tom Holland. Like not every skinny white boy looks like Tom Holland, but it's like, it doesn't fit for me. Maybe in a different Spider-Man game, but not this one.
Yeah. Another thing, as far as the weird of like how they he looks de-aged, is he looks younger than what we see of Miles and Miles Morales to me.
Yeah.
When Miles is supposed to be at least a decent bit younger, like an actual teenager.
Yeah. I bet that's one of those things that when you see him in action, he won't feel as young. Just the voice and what he's saying and the way he carries himself. Well, because we've pretty much just seen like one scene and everything. I bet that one. But again, I'm coming from a standpoint of like the face on its own doesn't bother me all that much. It's just the lack of continuity with it, and it feels kind of like an unforced error because with actors you might actually have an actor that goes away or whatever, but it's like it's a video game, you mocap his face or whatever. Like I get there's maybe issues, but like this can't be the first time this has happened. I feel like there would, I'm ignorant, I don't know, but I feel like there would be ways around there. I don't know. It's just it's just really weird to like already just game 2 of what will probably be mini games, and we're already like, oh, dude looks completely different. It's going to take a while to realize, like, okay, take all the emotions you had about the other Peter Parker, and you have to make yourself attach it to this guy, even though he's not the same guy.
The easy way to do it is to buy Spider-Man Remastered and play through it again.
Yeah, probably not going to do that, dude. So I'm probably not going to see him until Spider-Man 2. So that's
Miles Morales.
That's going to be even weirder. Or Miles Morales. Yeah. I guess, they probably weren't going to show him in Miles Morales trailers anyway, but I guess that's one of the reasons why they probably didn't show him in Miles Morales trailers, because they were waiting.
Yeah.
They probably like announced it already so that when they drop a new trailer with Peter in it, like people won't really complain.
Yeah. Or at least won't react to like, okay, well, we knew this was the case.
See, what I need is for every Spider-Man game from here on out, you can choose your Spider-Man. It's like you can have jank face original guy or well mocapped new guy. You can choose which, or Spider-Ham. Yes.
God damn it.
Yep, well, if we don't have anything else to say, moving on. Time to talk about some crunch time. Crunchitize me, Captain.
Yeah.
Bum bum bum.
So this, there's a story Jason Schreier wrote. You can read that and kind of get more details, but the basics of this for our conversation just generally is, CD Projekt Red said a while back that they would do no mandatory crunch, so they announced mandatory crunch.
Like they now announced.
Yeah.
They previously said they would not, and then now a few weeks before Cyberpunk 2077 releases, they have announced that all their workers will be working 6-day weeks from now to the end of it. It's worth noting these people are being compensated with overtime pay. They're receiving, it was like 10% of the, like people have calculated it out. It's a lot of money. I mean, these people are getting paid very well. But I do personally think that's well and good and all. You should pay people for the time you're making them work or whatever. But this kind of just goes to the whole philosophy thing. And like I was briefly saying last week, or I don't know if it was on the podcast or not, but with these type of things, you can have all the intentions in the world of being transparent with your workers that we're going to only work this or whatever. But when push comes to shove, if there's not if there's not something in place making people in power like stick to their word of, with what they promised their workers, that's always going to fail. That's always going to fall through because video games are hard to make and you get to the end, and I know it's hard to plan these things out and everything, but this is why you have to have a union or something to actually hold people accountable for what they say, because if you don't have something making that happen, it ain't gonna happen. And that's what
Yeah, I think I don't get too mad about crunch because it kind of needs to happen towards the end of it sometimes, but it's like I still think in my head where it's like it shouldn't happen though. Like in a perfect world, I still don't really like that it happens that much. I just don't really get mad about it because companies should kind of delay games a little bit, but it's I guess pushing it, getting it out. It's almost done. Let's crunch and get it done. But what I don't like is people just defending it they're making a lot of money. I've seen Colin Moriarty, I think, was doing a bunch of mental gymnastics to try to say why it's not a bad thing because they're making a lot of money. That's not what it's about. It's not just they're getting paid for it. It's great, but it's money doesn't solve all the problems. Just because you're making money, it's doesn't just make it okay, Mm-hmm. It's there's a lot of people going through mental gymnastics like that to kind of justify why it's fine. So it's not a big deal to you. It's not a big deal to you, but it's just because they make money, that doesn't mean it's okay.
And the point is, not everyone. Some people. I'm sure some people do want to be there 6 days a week and do all that because they really want to get this done. But not everyone wants to just throw their lives into the, completely go into the meat grinder for a job or whatever, and they shouldn't be shamed for that. And the point of the matter is, the people were told this wasn't going to happen. They might have made plans. They might have had weekly things that they do on the weekends that it's well, I got to throw all this away because I'm, going to be here 6 days a week. It's great they're being compensated, and I get that sometimes these things have to happen, but you can't tell people one thing and then just go right back against it. It's all right, then your word really didn't mean anything because when push comes to shove, this happened the same way it always does. And crunch is not equal everywhere. And it's a thorny issue because I've been on teams at the Daily Game Call where I did the student newspaper and other things like that where it's we had deadlines that got pushed or things fell apart, so we had to stay super late and everything, and I wanted to stay late because I cared about what I was doing. And it's a tough thing because some people will intentionally do this to themselves. They will put themselves out there or whatever, and they want to work super hard on this thing because that's how they work. But the problem is when you don't have systems in place, the people who aren't completely sacrificing themselves for the job end up looking lazy. And they end up being like, well, Steve's staying here Saturday and Sunday all day. Why aren't you? You know, that's how this inevitably always goes. You end up feeling pressured to work more than you want to work because of the environment, you know. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know the answer. I think unions are sometimes the answer. I think just some sort of... You just have to hold people's feet to the fire. You just do. When it comes to workers' rights and things like this. I mean, that's just how I feel about it, at least.
Yeah. Don't have to be saying anymore because we've had this conversation a good bit.
Yeah.
The main part of this being noteworthy is CD Projekt Red a couple months ago literally saying that this wasn't going to happen.
That's the big kicker. Super excited for the game, but it's just, you know, and I do think we are making progress towards better working conditions in the gaming industry. It's just slow. It's just a slow process.
Yep. Well, time for other news. A couple little headliners that, you know, we can talk about a little bit as much as we want, depending on how we're feeling. Fall Guys Season 2 is coming October 8th. We're almost there. It's going to be time to get medieval. We're going to get some more games. Maybe we'll get that crown.
I'm about to say maybe I'll get a win finally. Maybe one of these medieval games I'll find some like way to cheese it.
Yeah, I don't know the setup. I'm curious to see like how much they change up the overall games. There's like a complete overhaul, like completely different games all over, or what?
Yeah, I wonder if you're only playing the new games or if you're playing a mixture. I don't know. Well, no, but I'm definitely interested. The game's real fun. Have you been playing Fall Guys, Brent?
Yeah, I played a little bit when it came out. I haven't played much of it lately. Kind of sucks that it got pushed. I don't think it's a dead game, but it did kind of get pushed to the side a little bit when Among Us got popular.
Yeah.
So like, hopefully season 2 is the push people need to be like, let me get back into Fall Guys because it was genuinely a fun game. It's not free on PS Plus anymore. Maybe I'll drop 20 on it because it's a fun game. Kind of thing. I hope people like kind of have that mindset and get back into it because the devs are awesome.
Indeed.
Yeah, I hope it'll at least stick around. It's not going to regain the peak I think it got, but I hope it at least just like kind of keeps around. This will be a big test. They have to prove that they can put content in there, and that content will actually like get people to come in. But
I'm excited.
Me too.
The Monster Hunter movie got a little teaser trailer. It's just, you know, people in a desert with guns, and then a monster comes down and they're like, fire. Yeah, I don't know why that's a Monster Hunter movie.
Why does this exist?
So, and also a funny thing, it got pushed into next year. Then it got brought back into December of this year with this teaser trailer. So it's coming out in December now. Which
I think I've heard that like they barely use their guns in the movie and like they're barely in our world for that long. It was just a really bad trailer, but
then that's really bad for them because that's literally all they've shown from this movie that I've seen.
Yeah.
Them with guns and stuff. Yeah, and just be in our world. Also, honestly, them bringing it back into this year is just telling me they're just putting it.
Yeah, they're done with it. They're just kind of like, we don't care. I don't hear you guys.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can.
Yeah. Darby unplugged stuff.
Whoops. I did not have a careful footpath, apparently.
Yeah. Well, I was saying there's no way that this movie is successful. It's not going to do well. It's not going to review well. I just can't see it.
Yeah, it's got the IP name to enough for it to be like, let's see how they screw it up. But it's like it's not going to be like a blockbuster or anything.
Yeah. Well, not all video game movies can be as good as Sonic the Hedgehog.
That was a good movie. I just makes me wonder why they screwed the Assassin's Creed movie up so much.
Yeah. Video game, like, it's so weird with video game movies. It's like, you can make good stuff out of this, but they, like, never do.
Mm-hmm. Especially like, there's some video games.
Don't look at me.
so dumb. I love it.
Best person you ever made.
Saying, I'm just going to assume that he's complimenting how beautiful I am.
He said he loved it.
Yeah, just don't tell him the first part.
All right, continue. We have a podcast to do. Go.
Yeah.
God, that thing's so hard to see you.
Final thing I got on here is a game, that looked very interesting. The Pathless, which has been featured in a bunch of PlayStation events, is got a November 12th release date, so it's going to be a PS5 launch title.
That was surprising. It seems like they probably should have just said that, but
Yeah.
But
Hey,
cool.
it was part of a PlayStation conference. They couldn't give all the information out. They have to wait for it to be announced later on Twitter, preferably by Jeff Keighley.
Sony's weird. Speaking of Sony and weird console messaging and shit, let's get into our main topic.
Nice one, Darby.
Yeah. Segue.
I don't think we have to go like too deep in this, especially since we're already running kind of long. But we have a new person on the podcast that me and you have just been rambling on about next gen for ever and ever.
It's the day I was born.
I'd be interested to hear how Brent over here. Brent, what's your hype level with the PS5, Xbox Series S/X? And the digital / non disc drive PS5. Like what do you plan to buy this holiday, if any? Like where you at?
I could go on for hours about next gen, but it's like, I want the PS5. I'm a Sony fanboy, but I do want to do the Xbox All Access thing, the $35 a month for the Series X. Because as much as a PlayStation fanboy as I am, I want Microsoft to take some W's, and I think they have some good things lined up.
Mm-hmm.
But I need that PS5. I want the disc drive because I have too many 4K Blu-rays and PS4 games to get that I don't want to get rid of. So
yeah, I pretty much same with the PlayStation, and PlayStation just has like too many franchises that, like, for better or worse, Sony has a bunch of franchises held hostage for me. That it's like I have to get a PlayStation because I know that. But there's a bunch of, the list goes on. All these games are going to be exclusive there, so it's like I have to get them. And as we've talked a bunch of times, I love how Xbox is doing this because I feel like I already have the Xbox with my PC in the other room because like everything's going to go there. So I'm going to be, Xbox Game Pass, no brainer. I'm going to be like all in the Xbox ecosystem, even though I'm not buying the box. But I feel fine. That feels great to me. Like I am more happy with Microsoft as a company right now than I am Sony. But Sony kind of just has me like, I have no choice, I have no choice but to get a PlayStation.
And for me, and I guess partly Darby, it's like he said, their own IP and the fact as of right now, it is changing though, which just in general I'm happy about. They typically are guaranteed to get all the Japanese third-party IP, the big ones that I love. Yeah, like it's changing where Xbox is getting them and PC and stuff's getting them like day one and stuff, which is great just in general. But they're still getting enough of those, like only them. That's like. That is a big factor for me.
Yeah, PlayStation and I guess Switch a little bit are like JRPG machines for like that crowd. So if you have an Xbox, you're probably not like a JRPG guy.
But Xbox is obviously trying to do something that Yakuza is exclusive on Xbox for a few months.
Yeah, they got that Yakuza deal.
I'm not saying that they're going all out and it's all gonna work because Sony is just so established. But Xbox is attempting.
Yeah, well, and Xbox is also getting those Tales marketing rights for the last couple games with Vesperia Definitive Edition and Arise.
That's true. Xbox got marketing rights for a lot of things because they've just been doing third-party E3 conferences basically. But
if Microsoft actually bought Sega, that would be the nail in the coffin. They would 100% get into that Japanese market.
Oh god, Darby and I have discussed it. Like we're generally okay with Bethesda, like generally speaking, for a bunch of reasons, but I don't want them to buy another big company. I don't want either of them to buy all.
It's happening a lot. It's happening a lot tonight. Discord really just does not like us tonight.
I don't think Discord ever likes me.
I don't want Sony or Microsoft to buy any more big companies. Like if they want to buy like single off studios that, you know, it makes sense to potentially buy, like they may want to be bought or something, fine. But I don't want them to just throw a bunch of money at like Sega or something or Capcom and to buy them out.
I guess, but look at it. It's Sega. Like, what do they have that they're using right now? Sonic and Yakuza.
Persona.
Isn't that Atlus? Do they own Atlus?
They do own
They
Atlas.
do own Atlas.
Okay, that makes sense. But it's like, besides that though, it's like Sega's got a lot, but they don't really use a lot of it enough to where I would be mad if Xbox bought it. I guess I'm on the side of like I said, I want Microsoft to take some W's because I think they can. I think they're a smart company. It's just that Dawn Matrix stuff just like got them way too hard on the Xbox One generation.
Yeah,
so like going into this with Phil Spencer, I think they have the potential to like knock everything out of the park. So like I want them to take some W's.
Yeah, I just don't want us to go to a bidding war between them, and all the big companies are just kind of split between. I mean, Microsoft can play that game all day. Sony can't, but still.
Right. That's kind of what me and Jeff have just brought up a lot. That like right now, I'm happy with it and everything. I think it will be good for Bethesda, good for Microsoft, good for just gaming in general. But I mean, you have to understand, this was basically Phil Spencer. I've used the analogy a bunch of times that it's like Microsoft has nuclear weapons and Sony doesn't with money. Right?
Yeah.
And Xbox convinced Microsoft to drop the atomic bomb and like spend $7.5 billion on Bethesda. That is just a move that Sony does not have in their arsenal because Sony is such a smaller company than Microsoft. So like even though we think of Sony as this gaming giant and they're the biggest company in the gaming space, because right now they are still, but at any moment Microsoft, Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft could come in here and start throwing money around and, you know, monopolize things. They're the only one that has the power to do something like that.
But I will say, like, I don't necessarily want to buy Sega, but if someone wants to buy Konami, I'll allow it.
Someone needs to take,
or at least take their IP.
Yeah, at least take the IP.
Sony would be a good fit for Konami. But it's that was 100% Microsoft like flopping their schlong on the table and being like, bro, we can do whatever like we want. Like Sony made like the thing is, it's like they don't care about boxes, but they also kind of have to because they're a company. But it's like they want to sell a box, but they also just don't care enough as much as Sony does. So it's like I see like back and forth. I think they're doing really good for the Xbox ecosystem, like getting Bethesda and everything. Doom Eternal, best shooter of all time, already going to Game Pass.
Oh yeah, that's a game.
So
I
like
need
they're
to
already.
download that.
It's so good. I recommend on PC. Play it on PC.
Okay.
Because keyboard and mouse is the best way to play that game. It's godlike. It's so good.
Yeah, this part of it is why I'm considering it like on console, just at the very moment, because it's on Game Pass for console at the moment, but not PC. And
I'm sure it's coming.
No, it is, but that's the busy time.
Fair. Yeah.
That's the only reason. I probably still wait, but.
Yeah, I think all that being said, with how much I'm hyped about Xbox, I'm still gonna get a PlayStation 5. I'm too obsessed with trophies. Like that's like I got like a really good gaming PC, and I was like, oh, I'm enlightened. I'm in the PC master race now. And then I started looking over my PlayStation again. I started getting more trophies, and I'm like, I'm back at PS4 now. Now I'm back in Walmart, GameStop, looking at the PS4 aisle again. It's like they got me because I tried achievement hunting on Steam. Doesn't feel the same, man. It really doesn't. Getting a good trophy, a good platinum trophy.
Tomorrow, if Sony announced that they were going to drop all their games on PC just like Xbox did, I would never buy another console in my life other than the Switch.
I mean, legitimately, I would like if they did announce that, I would just legitimately forget about PS5 and just put all my money towards a beefy PC.
Yeah, but like, I do want to know. I am interested, Brett. So you do have a gaming PC right now?
Yeah, I got a pretty good PC.
What like I'm just legitimately curious. Why? What is the reason for getting an Xbox Series X when you have a PC? Because I just think they've boxed themselves out of the PC market, basically, which I think they're okay with because they got me on Game Pass and everything. I was just curious.
I mean, yeah, like they definitely know what they're doing with PC. Like they own Windows, so it's like they're still like they're still getting your money.
You still go
but I
through-
think for me getting a Series X, I don't know why. I just kind of want it, I guess. But I know I have friends on Xbox I would play with. I've also found myself just not playing my PC. Like I get my third parties on PS4 too now, and it's like I don't even have a PS4 Pro, so like I could be playing third parties in 4K on my PC, and I'm not. Like I'm still getting it on my base PS4 because I'm just like I've been enjoying console more recently than I have sitting at my desk playing PC. And before everyone tells me I can hook everything to my TV, it's not that fun. I've tried it,
it's a hassle.
but like. Yeah, it's a lot. But for Series X, it's like I would like to be able to sit down and play Halo on a Series X and enjoy it, you know? I guess I don't really have some enlightened reason for why I'm getting the Series X. I just kind of want to.
Fair.
No, I was just curious.
Plus with All Access, it comes with 2 years of Gold and Game Pass, so that kind of pulls me into.
You know, also fair.
Yeah.
Also, just kind of curious, what launch games you planning on getting?
For both, I guess. Yeah.
Planning on getting is a different story than want, because probably none. But what I want is Miles Morales, the Ultimate Edition, because I need that remaster. I want Godfall because it looks really fun. Demon Souls.
It's just
I
the
want
first time I've
Destruction
heard
All.
someone say something positive about Godfall, so I want to dig into that. So.
Dude, Godfall looks so fun and everyone hates on it.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
At least for me and Darby, it's kind of like it was like an Avengers style thing in a way, which we kind of says not our thing.
I think the game looks fine enough. The marketing has just been atrocious with it for the most part. But
Yeah. They haven't really described too much of the cool part of like, oh, it's a 3D sword slinging Borderlands. I mean, not 3D, but like third person sword slinging Borderlands. I'm okay with that. I'm down, especially the aesthetic of like medieval kind of, you know what I mean? Kind of like that looks really cool. But also like, I just really want it. So I want Black Ops Cold War and Assassin's Creed Valhalla because those are two franchises I can't get enough of. So that's kind of like my launch lineup. It would have been Halo as well, but
yeah. And are you a Souls guy? Sorry, I interrupted you when you said Demon Souls. But
no, you're good. I don't like Dark Souls, but I love Bloodborne and Sekiro. So I'll give Demon Souls a shot. I know it's similar to Dark Souls because it was the precursor, but I still want to play it. I probably won't beat it. But.
It looks insanely modern. That's like the only game that I've seen where I'm like next gen. You know, like that game looks next.
Well,
gen.
it helps that a lot of these PlayStation games that were announced, we thought they were next gen only, but they're not.
Yeah.
Demon Souls like the only one.
And I guess Ratchet and Clank, we haven't heard anything yet, and they keep talking about the loading time. So like whatever.
Ratchet and Clank is not going to PS4. I will put my chips on the table
No,
now.
I'm with you there.
I am too.
Yeah, just the launch title.
the game.
So funny that they just
Ratchet and Clank is look at this SSD, the game.
Right.
That's what Ratchet and Clank is.
Right. Like it would kind of destroy every point they've made if that came to PS4. It'd be like, but what? But you said, but you were saying that this was only possible to what?
It is.
Yeah.
The PS4 is gonna run like shit.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have a bad time. Every single like that the demo they did. Every time they go to another world, there's a loading screen, and he like slides down the thing, goes into another portal, loading screen.
Well,
they're just gonna do the thing that Todd Howard talked about, where he's like, hey, Morrowind. Like every time we would load, we would just reset the Xbox.
Oh no, really?
They're just gonna do
I don't
that.
think I knew that.
there was an
they reset the game. Yeah.
God.
They said the Morrowind was such a big game that to put it on Xbox, like they did this trick. Xbox taught them this trick, I guess, to like when they're loading it, they would just reset the game.
Yikes.
To save RAM.
Fucking yikes. Well, Brent, before we thank you for being on here and close out the show, I just want to give you the floor and give you a chance to roast us for not having Ghost of Tsushima fan number 1 on our Ghost of Tsushima spoiler cast. Brent, go ahead and tear us alive.
I'm glad you said that because you had Matt and Dallas on there. Literally, like, and I started Ghost Gang. I added Matt and Dallas to Ghost Gang. I'm just kidding. I honestly don't really care. It was still a good like episode to watch.
It was as soon as we like released that, it was like a few hours later. Like I saw Brent talking about like Ghost of Tsushima might be his favorite game of all time. It was like, I have made a mistake. It's like I was just already in a group chat full of people, so I'm like, oh, I'll just send it out to all those people. I didn't think anything past that.
Yeah.
No, I feel that. I hadn't really made myself wanted, you know? I don't really talk about a lot of important stuff.
We want you, Brent. We want you back on as many times as you want. Please, because it was a fantastic time. It was a great episode. Indeed. Yeah. So
appreciate that, man. I had fun.
Yeah. Well, before we get out, let people know where they can find you again. I guess just, Twitter and your podcast and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Free to play podcast. Follow me on GG. I'm too addicted to that app. It's Porkchop 118.
Nice. And
free to play podcast. Check that out.
Check out all the podcasts. Podcast Empire. It sounds like he's on a lot of different things.
Yep.
And,
he's spreading his influence to all the other ones as well.
You will, I think Brent, you can confirm you will find Brent again at the very least on our if not before, whatever, on our Halloween all day stream that we're gonna do on twitch.tv/nerdsatlargegaming. Brent, will you be there?
Yes, sir. Just gotta figure out if I'm keeping my original costume or I'm getting a new one.
Ooh, we'll see. Exciting stuff. I already got my costume. I think Jeff has ordered his. Maybe Jeff's ordered his. We have lots of games lined up. We're like working out everything. We have Chad Michael in this. We have Holden DePardo. We have Matt. We have Dallas. We have Jericho. We have Jacob. We have Alex.
The Raft Pack.
We got so many people in here. We're going to play Among Us because we actually have enough people to do it. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be a good time. Twitch.tv.
Something I love about that I just realized is like when you made these plans, Among Us wasn't even popular yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Now it's like, well, Darby and I have had a chance to play it, so we're going to use this as an excuse.
Just fell right into our laps. Yep. So that's going to be so much fun. I'm going to be stressed out, but I'm going to try to enjoy myself, probably drink a lot, and it'll be a good old time. But yeah, thanks again, Brent. It was a pleasure. Definitely have you back on many more times because it was great.
Bet.
Yes. Bet. All right.
Bet.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace out.